Alright, hyperbolic gang, Saiyan warriors. This was requested by many of my students and humans across the four corners of Earth that I have been working with. And yeah, my mobility routine, warm-up regimen to activate and check through the Saiyan Armour, get it battle ready before I do a tricking session or any intense activity and physical practice. So first I make sure to open up and check through my quads. Yes, here we go. So I just make sure that both of my quads are loose and ready for the session. I usually do like 10 repetitions ups and down. Then I check my wrists, do a little wrist check, both wrists obviously. And this collection of exercise, it's not a guideline, you don't have to follow each thing. You can literally take each of those sequences and do them separately and create even a little physical practice or workout to that. But make sure if you do the wrist check that you create a fist and really check the tendons, tightness and muscles. There's a video on this channel that specifically addresses wrist pain, you should check it out. Then I usually move to my groin area, try to check tension there because the front is connected with the back. Anterior and posterior chain are linked, so if the front is tight you will have a very high chance that you could tweak your back as well. So I usually make sure that both sides are equal, and here I don't really focus on going as low as possible. I just focus on having a straight back, having the feet quite far away actually from me in that position, and I feel through the tension in my hips. And then I usually check how flexible and mobile I am and if I have any tightness. Then I move to hip mobility and activation. This sequence, you see, like you can start from both hands, like everything can be regressed and be advanced and adapted to your needs. But as I said, I'm just presenting my regimen before I do a tricking session or any intense physical activity. Here's like a 90-90 hip check. As I said, you can take all of those movements and do them separately for the areas you feel like you need to work on. And then here I try to touch literally my foot and move from side to side. Very good to activate hips and lower body. And then the advanced version is you actually push yourself up. Exactly. That's gonna make you warm, loose, and activate your lower body. This whole routine, the emphasis on really is checking if I'm really ready to do what I need to do, or if my body needs, let's say, active recovery day. And then you have the forward version of it. You really press forward, lower to the back, controlled. I usually do 10 reps each of those movements. You really make sure to control, and then I stay in that forward position, check my thoracic spine, I open up to the sky, and then what I really like to do is big circles with the knee to the outside and to the inside. You just draw big circles, you grab your heel and you loosen up and warm up your posterior chain, hamstrings, calves, exactly biceps femoris, and then I switch to the pigeon. But here I don't just, like here you regress. If you don't have the strength in your piriformis to actually push you and stabilize you, you should always do it supported with your hands. But if you have the strength, I like to activate the muscle by actually really tensing it and using it. So this is just a adapted version of the pigeon stretch, which I would like to call it pigeon muscle activation, because I really try to work the muscle and use the muscle, not just stretch it, because we want strength and we want flexibility to fuse together, which then creates mobility. That's how I see it. And then of course you do this regimen both sides. Again here big circles, I draw big circles, and as I figured out in this particular warm-up for the pigeon practice, the pigeon muscle, the pigeon move, the activation of piriformis, my left side was way weaker than my right side, as you can see and will see now. So I can stabilize and I have way more strength and stability on my right side. So again here I really try to use the muscle, warm it up and work it at the same time. It's not the traditional yoga stretch, pigeon stretch. And no, I'm not practicing yoga. And here again, a little bit of activation from the push-up position. You really try to push up your legs to the sky and warm up hips, shoulders, core. Again, 10 times should suffice. If you want to use those movements more as a conditioning routine, you just do a couple of more sets and a couple of more rounds, and that should do the job too. And then I just press and activate my calves, tendons. I check through each leg, many different angles, single legged, both legged, heels outside, heels inside, as you will see in this demonstration. Again, 10 reps each side should suffice, so that you can actually connect to your body and see what needs to be addressed or what is actually ready to go to battle. And here I do heels outside, push, make a check, heels inside, and I check if the armor is ready for battle. Then most important, toes. Everything starts from the toes, the big toe. I make sure they are touching, and I make sure really my toes are as mobile as possible. And I try to include opening shoulders, not just, when I do one thing, I want to make basically victory in both areas. So while I stretch my toes in this position, I simultaneously try to activate and loosen my shoulders, but everything starts from the ground, and many of you might have a problem sitting on their toes at the beginning, but day after day, practice after practice, this will improve and this will alleviate a lot of issues, ankle and knee. I know, for instance, if my big toe is not mobile, then my knee will hurt. So those are connected because tendons attach muscles, ligaments. So I really encourage everybody to daily start with stretching their toes. Shout out to Kadua Ziani Male Academy. The primal stuff is the real stuff, and that's why I try to get my heart rate up with some crawls, animal flow stuff, primal movements, like just crawling forward and backward. You really want to try to synchronize legs and arms, natural crawling, and the same as for the posterior chain, because we want to have the anterior chain and the posterior chain. So here again I do the same thing, pushing through the posterior chain, again animal flow, then I open up again, quads, a bit of toes, across both sides. I listen to the body, I check the armor. I really want to make sure that my body armor is ready for what I will be asking it to do in a high intensity practice session. And then the good old duck walk, ankle mobility, knees, hip. I encourage everybody to claim their human resting squat. There's a video about me talking about primal recovery habits. You should check that out. I mean, if you can't sit comfortably in a squat, then this duck walk might be a problem for you. But if you can, this is going to be fantastic to further activate and increase mobility in your lower body. And it's going to make you warm for sure, and get that heart rate up. Then I do a little stretch again, pushing. Again, you see the toes, they play a big part when I initiate the Saiyan Warrior warm-up session. Toes and lower body first, and then I usually move to the upper body. So I start from the ground, from the hard floor of truth. That's where everything begins. That's where everything will end. Then I do more squat mobility. Again, both sides. I really try to open up my squat, my hips. Those that struggle with this, again, I encourage you, claim back the resting squat. And it will come back if you really desire, and if you show yourself worthy to get your eternal chair that nobody can take away from you, and then you shall receive the primal squat. And here I do a little bit of thoracic spine again, activation. Again, both sides, left and right. Check through your thoracic spine. try to look up to the ceiling, the sky. If you're in the gym or not in the gym, doesn't matter. Then I do a little bit of internal rotations on the toes. And then I try to internally rotate on a flat foot too, which I still try to improve. I used to struggle with this a lot, but it's getting better year after year. So then, those are elephant rocks, a very good mobility and activation for the posterior chain, especially upper calf and biceps femoris, hamstrings. Helped me actually to get more flexibility, even though I don't think about flexibility. What I think here really is to do 25 repetitions each leg, flexing my quad, actually like squeezing the front, my quads, my quadriceps as hard as I can. This gives a signal to the body to actually loosen the backside, which is the posterior. So I flex the anterior and the posterior will be relaxed. That over time will actually give you way more flexibility than static stretching and any like other flexibility tools you may know. So if this is hard, for me it's still hard. Like you can elevate your hands, you can use a block or whatever to support your weight, because you really want to support your weight on your hands and then push through your quad. As you can see, both sides, 25 reps, and then already I can feel way more flexibility coming. I can go flat, and this is also improving month after month. But this elephant rock is a secret juice to improve your posterior chain and mobility in your lower legs. Then I move to the upper body. We activate it through the floor, through the ground, through the hard floor of truth, and then I move up. I do some like light movements. All of that stuff I do with my students helps for coordination, balance. 10 reps each side. I actually try to think about an eagle position known from tricking, just assimilate it. And here I try to, with the knee, touch my chest. That's the intention. I want to touch the chest, my pecs with my knee. And all of those movements I do 10 reps each side. So I have the front, the side and the back, as you will see now. So here you want to have your hands, you want to grab your elbows, the back of the body, have an upright posture, straight strong posture, and really pull through your legs and hip. Then again 10 reps of the eagle, chilled eagle swings to get the heart rate up, get a little bit sweaty. 10 reps each leg, each side. And this knee to chest is a fantastic, a glorious activation for the sole muscle, the psoas, the hip flexor. And you really activate the sole. If you can really smash your knee, your chest with your knee, this will indicate that your psoas is ready for battle. Your soul is ready for battle. Again, make sure to grab your elbows, straight posture. Then I do a little bit of coordination, shoulders, hips. I really play with it. Have my shoulders in coordination on point. Check them. And we move to the next segment, which is just a little bit of running. Knees up. You can actually do whatever you want. You can do bouncing, jumping. I just like to have a couple of runs, a couple of heels to the glutes, a couple of side steps. Again, trying to keep the heart rate up and try to keep sweaty and get the Saiyan Armour ready to performing temperature. It's like, think about it, it's like a sports car. You don't want to hit that sports car when it's completely cold. It will not give you the best performance and the top speed. You want to warm it up a couple of rounds. That's how I treat this segment. And then more explosive work and coordination. Try to do side hops, each leg 10 times over a line. Getting, as I said, the engine more hot, ready, and prepping it for the real stuff coming in an intense tricking session or any other physical activity. And the same, so you do each leg forward and to the side, left and right, 10 reps should suffice. As I said, you can use this, you can use segments of this routine and do more rounds. You can transform it actually into a conditioning routine, let's say. But I just do one round to warm up my body. And here, of course, shoulders, I call it helicopter. You start slow, forward and backwards, 10 rounds, 10 circles, and then you try to speed up as fast as you can. Trying to see how strong, mobile your shoulders are and how they feel. And after that, we're going into the last phase. I'm gonna really see and check, or you can see and check how bouncy you feel that particular day. For me, it's always the last indication to listen to the body and see if it really wants to respond the way I want it, or if the armor is in place and polished. So I do a little bit of jumps. Then I do those to activate more of my lower body, hamstrings, mobility and flexibility and strength. I breathe a little bit after all of this jumping and running, gather myself, and then I go side to side. Checking how my hips feel, how my hamstrings, biceps femoris feels. And if I'm ready for tricking, if the last phase of my warm-up is hard for me, or I feel fatigued during it, that for me is a very good indication that I might need to do a more technical day or an active rest day and not go as intense as I intended to go, right? So the whole emphasis of this is to scan through your body, warm it up, and see if it will obey your commands and if the armor is polished enough to actually go to battle, or if it still needs to be polished one more day to prepare for the next day of battle. And the same as the jumps with 2 feet, I have a one leg pistol squat variation of this. This is more advanced, but as I said, for me, throughout the years I've been using those warm-ups and movements to check if I'm actually really ready for a movement session or not, or for intense tricking session or not. Then again, this is more of holds, stretches, as I'm still trying to improve on my posterior chain in strength and mobility, which actually, as I mentioned earlier, mobility should be a union between strength and flexibility. So to finish it off, I do again a little bit of active mobility, some outside crescent kicks, usually 10 to 20 reps. While I do this, I try again to do two things at the same time. I want to have good posture, open up my shoulders, while I'm also working on the hips and lower body. I try to not separate movements. I try to fuse them together and save time, because otherwise the warm-up would take an hour. But I was requested to do this many times in the past few years, and I finally decided it's time to share with like-minded warriors. If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you would like to see next. We keep it lean, mean, and clean. See you in the next one, Saiyan Warriors.